Welcome to my channel HFY Universe. The alien emperor dropped his weapon when the human kept crawling without a heart. Black blood poured across the steel floor. The human soldier's chest was open. Destroyed by plasma fire seconds earlier. No species could survive that. But the human still moved. Still crawled. Still stared at the emperor with burning eyes full of hatred. And then the dying man whispered something that froze every alien in the throne room. You should have killed us all. The lights exploded. 3 months earlier, Earth was losing. Massive alien warships covered the skies above every major city. Their shadows stretched across oceans, across mountains, across entire countries. Human weapons barely scratched them. Missiles failed. Jets vanished in seconds. Entire fleets burned before they reached orbit. The Valkyrie Empire had conquered thousands of worlds. To them, humanity was just another primitive species standing in the way of expansion. Weak, emotional, easy to break. That was their first mistake. Commander Adrian Kane stood inside the underground command bunker beneath Colorado Springs while alarms screamed around him. Sweat covered his face. Blood dripped from a cut above his eye. The room shook from another orbital strike. Hawaii is gone, someone whispered. Nobody answered. Because there was nothing left to say. The war had lasted 11 days. 11. Humanity was dying faster than anyone believed possible. Adrian stared at the tactical screen. Red symbols covered Earth like a disease. Every defense line had collapsed. Every fleet destroyed. And still, humans kept fighting. That confused the aliens more than anything. A terrified young officer looked toward Adrian. Sir, why are civilians still attacking them? The commander watched footage from Tokyo. Burning streets, collapsed towers, a damaged alien walker firing into crowds. Then dozens of ordinary humans charged it anyway. No armor, no training, just rage. One woman climbed onto the machine while on fire and shoved explosives into its core. The screen went white. The officer looked sick. They know they can't win. Adrian answered quietly. Humans don't fight because they think they'll survive. Another explosion rocked the bunker. We fight because someone has to. Far above Earth, Emperor Valor watched the war from his flagship. Cold. Wrapped in black armor made from the bones of extinct creatures. His glowing silver eyes studied the human resistance with growing frustration. They continue attacking supply routes, one general reported nervously. Valor narrowed his eyes. Why? They have no strategic advantage. Another officer spoke carefully. The humans appear willing to sacrifice entire cities just to slow our advance. The Emperor turned slowly toward the holographic battlefield. Confusion spread across his face. Every species surrendered eventually. Fear always won. But humans became more dangerous the more they lost. Made no sense. Then came the transmission. A human signal suddenly appeared across every Imperial channel. The bridge fell silent. An old man appeared on screen holding a little girl against his chest while explosions shook the background behind him. The child was crying. The old man looked directly into the alien cameras. If anyone survives this, he said softly, tell the stars humanity was here. Then the signal ended. One of the alien officers shifted uncomfortably. Should we destroy the remaining communication towers, Your Majesty? Valor didn't answer immediately. Because for the first time in centuries, he felt something strange. Unease. Hours later, the final defense fleet gathered above Earth. 43 human ships. Damage. Outnumbered. Doom. Commander Adrian Kane stood on the bridge of the battleship Resolute and watched Earth turning below him. Blue oceans. White clouds. A young pilot beside him tried to hide her shaking hands. We can't stop them, sir. Adrian nodded slowly. I know. Then why stay? The commander looked toward the stars filled with enemy ships. Thousands of them. Enough firepower to erase humanity forever. Then he smiled sadly. Because they think we're afraid. Pilot frowned. A second later, every human ship transmitted the same message across open space. Music. Soft piano at first. Then voices. Ancient human voices singing together. The Valkyrie fleet paused in confusion. "What is this?" one alien officer asked. Their translators processed the words. And suddenly the Emperor stood from his throne. The song was not a surrender. It was a funeral march. For themselves. The human fleet charged. The battle became madness instantly. Human ships slammed directly into alien formations. Pilots ignored damage warnings. One cruiser lost engines and used nuclear detonations to launch itself forward like a missile. Another ship kept firing after half the crew burned alive. The Valkyrie had never seen anything like it. Humans fought like extinction had unlocked something inside them. Something terrifying. Emperor Valor watched in disbelief as a burning human destroyer tore through 5 Imperial vessels before exploding beside his flagship shields. "What are these creatures?" he whispered. Then alarms erupted across the throne bridge. Unknown vessel approaching. A damaged human battleship burst through fire and debris straight toward the Emperor. The Resolute. Adrian Kane stood on the bridge covered in blood while warning sirens screamed around him. His ship was dying. His crew was dying. But his eyes never left the enemy flagship. "Distance?" he asked. 20 seconds. Another explosion killed half the navigation deck. The young pilot looked at Adrian in horror. "We're not gonna make it." The commander grabbed the intercom. His voice echoed across the dying ship. To everyone still breathing. Silence filled the bridge. Then Adrian spoke softly. "Thank you." The crew closed their eyes. Some prayed. Some cried. Some smiled. Then the Resolute accelerated directly toward the Emperor's flagship. The alien fleet panicked. "No species would do this," a general shouted. "But humans would." That was the problem. Valor stared at the incoming ship as realization spread across his face. The humans were not trying to survive anymore. They were trying to take the galaxy down with them. And suddenly, for the first time in Imperial history, the Emperor felt fear. Then the human ship vanished in white light. And something ancient woke up beneath Earth's surface. The explosion above Earth should have killed Commander Adrian Kane instantly. Instead, he woke up underwater. Cold darkness surrounded him. No sound, no fire, no stars, just silence. Adrian's eyes snapped open as he struggled to breathe. He reached for his chest, expecting torn armor and broken bones. Nothing. No wounds. No blood. Above him, faint blue light shimmered through black water like moonlight beneath an ocean. Confused, Adrian pushed upward. Then something moved below him. Huge. Ancient. Touching. A deep vibration rolled through the water. Not sound. Voice. "You are the last." Adrian froze. The darkness beneath him shifted again. 2 enormous silver eyes opened under the abyss. His heart nearly stopped. The creature was massive. Larger than cities. Its body hidden beneath endless black water. And somehow, felt familiar. The voice returned. "Humanity bleeds, yet still fights." Adrian forced himself to speak. "What are you?" The giant eyes narrowed slowly. "The first mistake your enemies ever made." Far above Earth, Emperor Valor stared at the burning battlefield in shock. The human battleship had vanished completely. No debris. No wreckage. Just a sphere of white light expanding across orbit before disappearing. Then every system inside the Imperial fleet failed at once. Weapons shut down. Navigation collapsed. Thousands of warships drifted helplessly through space. Panicked voices filled the flagship bridge. "We lost targeting. Power systems offline. Something is inside the network." Valor rose from his throne. Fear spread through the bridge crew as strange symbols suddenly appeared across every screen. Ancient symbols. Unknown. Alive. One officer backed away trembling. "Your Majesty. The signals are coming from Earth itself." Then the planet moved. Not physically. But something beneath its surface awakened. The oceans began glowing. Entire continents shook violently. And deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, something enormous opened its eyes. Adrian stood in shallow black water now. The endless ocean around him reflected stars that did not belong to Earth. The giant silver eyes watched him carefully. "You carry extinction inside you," the creature said. Adrian clenched his fists. "My people are dying." "Yes. Then help me save them." The water suddenly trembled. Images exploded across Adrian's mind. Worlds burning. Alien civilizations erased. Entire star systems turned into ash. Then humans. Ancient humans. Not modern civilization. Something older. Stronger. Thousands of years ago, humanity had stood beside creatures made of living stars. Massive beings capable of bending gravity and tearing holes through space itself. Adrian staggered backward. "What is this?" "Truth." The creature rose slightly from the darkness. His body looked impossible. Part machine. Part living creature. Covered in glowing scars older than planets. "We were called the Eternals," it said. "And humanity once fought beside us." Adrian's breathing stopped. "No. Yes." The silver eyes dimmed sadly. "Before your species forgot." On the Imperial flagship, panic spread rapidly. Entire sections of the fleet continued shutting down. Human survivors on Earth suddenly launched counterattacks across every continent. Alien armies began losing communication, losing control, losing order, and humans noticed immediately. A Marine in Chicago screamed with rage as he charged an alien walker carrying nothing but explosives. A wounded pilot in Brazil rammed her damaged jet into an enemy carrier. Across the planet, humanity struck back like a cornered animal sensing weakness. The Valkyrie officers watched the reports in horror. "They're attacking everywhere. They should be retreating." Valor slammed his hand onto the throne. "Why do they keep fighting?" No one answered. 'Cause deep down, the aliens were beginning to understand. Humans did not fear death the same way other species did. That made them dangerous. Back inside the Black Ocean, Adrian struggled to process the visions. "You're saying humans were advanced before?" "Beyond advanced." The Eternal's voice echoed across the water. "Your species was once feared across the galaxy." Adrian stared upward at the impossible stars. "Then what happened?" For the first time, the ancient creature looked afraid. "You chose mercy." "Silence." The Eternal continued. "Humanity sealed away its power after nearly destroying existence itself. More visions appeared. Human fleets tearing stars apart. Worlds collapsing. Reality bending under weapons too terrible to imagine. Then came another image. Humans destroying their own machines. Burying technology. Erasing history. Starting over." Adrian felt sick. "We forgot on purpose." "Yes." The creature lowered its massive head. "But the galaxy remembered." Suddenly the Black Ocean shook violently. A sharp pain exploded inside Adrian's skull. The Eternal growled deeply. "They found us." The stars above shattered like broken glass. Adrian looked upward in horror. Something was tearing through space itself. A massive shape descended from the darkness beyond the stars. Mechanical. Monstrous. Alive. Even the Eternal seemed disturbed by it. "What is that?" The ancient being's voice turned cold. "The thing your empire woke up." The creature emerging from space was not Valkyrie. Not human. Not alive in any normal sense. Its body stretched across the sky like a machine built from corpses and metal. Thousands of red eyes opened across its surface. Then it spoke with billions of screaming voices at once. "We found the last human." Adrian felt terror for the first time since Earth began dying. The Eternal moved protectively between him and the nightmare above. And then Adrian noticed something horrifying. The giant machine was smiling. "You should not exist anymore," it whispered. The Black Ocean began collapsing around them. Reality itself started breaking apart. And far above Earth, every human on the planet suddenly heard the same words echo inside their minds. Run! The human ship was burning. Half of the Atlas had already melted away into glowing debris, drifting silently through the black void. And Captain Elias Ward was still inside it. Commander Threx watched in horror from the alien flagship as the damaged human cruiser accelerated directly toward the enemy fleet. No, he whispered. No species would continue fighting after sustaining that level of damage. But the humans did. The void swarm shifted across space like a living nightmare. Millions of black shapes. Millions of red eyes. And at the center of them all, the Hive King awakened. The creature was enormous. Larger than entire cities. Its body unfolded like a machine made from bones and stars. Massive tendrils spread through space while thousands of smaller swarm creatures screamed around it. Every alien fleet in the sector froze. Even the mighty Zyran battleships stopped firing. Fear spread across every channel. Because the Hive King had only appeared once before. And entire civilizations had vanished afterward. Inside the Atlas, warning sirens screamed through smoke-filled corridors. Fire poured from shattered walls. Crew members dragged the wounded toward escape pods while sparks rained from the ceiling. Captain Elias Ward stood at the center bridge covered in blood. One eye swollen shut. Left arm burned black from plasma exposure. And still standing, Lieutenant Mira Chen stared at him in disbelief. Captain, the reactor is collapsing. Elias looked calmly at the tactical screen. How long? Maybe 12 minutes. Silence. Then another explosion shook the ship. Somewhere below them people were dying. But Elias never moved. The Hive King's voice suddenly echoed through every system. Not through speakers. Inside their minds. Human resistance is over. Crew members collapsed screaming. Blood ran from noses and ears. The psychic pressure was unbearable. Even hardened alien commanders fell to their knees. But Elias only clenched the command rail tighter. Then slowly, he smiled. Commander Threx felt cold. The human captain should have been terrified. Instead, he looked angry. Elias activated the fleet-wide channel. His voice came through rough and calm. Every ship retreat to Phase Line 7. Admiral Serac immediately protested. You cannot hold them alone. We're not holding them. Elias looked toward the approaching Hive King. We're baiting them. Threx's eyes widened. The realization hit him instantly. The human planned to lure the Hive King directly into the collapsing reactor blast. It was suicide. Absolute suicide. No, Threx said immediately. Humans do not sacrifice command vessels. Your death would cripple morale. Elias answered quietly. You still don't understand us. The bridge became silent. Outside the viewport, thousands of swarm creatures surged toward the dying human ship. Like sharks smelling blood. Mira stepped closer to Elias. Her hands trembled. If you stay, you die. I know. You can still evacuate. Elias looked at his crew. At the terrified faces trying desperately not to break apart. Then he spoke softly. My father died on Titan Station so I could live. Silence. My mother died during the Black Winter evacuations saving strangers she never met. Another explosion thundered below them. Elias never flinched. We survive because someone chooses to stay behind. Myra's eyes filled with tears. Commander Threx felt something unfamiliar tighten inside his chest. The aliens had studied humans for decades. They understood human weapons, human history, human biology. But this made no logical sense. Why would a species willingly walk into death for others? The Hive King suddenly unleashed a psychic shockwave. Entire fleets drifted helplessly. Alien crews screamed in terror. Ships began shutting down one after another. Even Admiral Serac collapsed unconscious. Only the humans kept moving, bleeding, shaking, but moving. Threx stared at his monitors in disbelief. How are they resisting it? One alien scientist whispered the answer. They are emotionally bonded. What? The psychic attack amplifies fear. But humans are stabilizing each other through emotional attachment. Another pause. They are enduring the pain together. Threx looked back toward the burning atlas. And for the first time in his life, the alien commander understood why the galaxy feared humanity. Not because humans were stronger, not because they were smarter, but because humans could continue fighting after hope itself died. Inside the bridge, reactor alarms reached critical levels. Mira suddenly grabbed Elias by the collar. You don't get to do this alone. Elias blinked. What? You heard me. Her voice cracked with emotion. You think we're leaving you here? The remaining crew slowly stood beside them, one by one, bruised, terrified, ready. Elias looked around the bridge silently, then laughed weakly. Tired, broken laugh. God, humans are insane. The Atlas suddenly accelerated. Straight toward the Hive King. Warning lights exploded red across every screen. Outside, the swarm realized the danger too late. Thousands of enemy creatures swarmed toward the ship. The void itself seemed to shake. Commander Threx watched in horror. No, they'll never make it. Then Elias transmitted one final message across every allied channel. A calm human voice against the end of the galaxy. If humanity survives this. Static crackled. Take care of each other. The transmission ended. And the Atlas vanished into the darkness surrounding the Hive King. A single white light appeared. Small at first. Teeny. Silent. Commander Threx stopped breathing. Because he realized the human reactor had gone critical, and the explosion about to happen would either save the galaxy or destroy everything. The explosion lit the galaxy brighter than a newborn star. For one terrifying second, everything disappeared. The Hive King, the swarm fleet, the human ship Atlas, gone inside a wall of white fire that swallowed half the sector. Commander Threx shielded his eyes as shockwaves slammed against the Zyran flagship. Warning systems screamed. Entire fleets spun helplessly through the storm. And silence. Terrible silence. No weapons. No screams. Only drifting wreckage beneath dying stars. Threx slowly looked back toward the battlefield. And his breath stopped. The swarm fleet was collapsing. Millions of enemy vessels drifted lifeless through space like broken insects. The psychic network was gone. Disconnected. Admiral Serac staggered onto the bridge, blood still running from his mouth. Report. An officer stared at the scanners in disbelief. The Hive King has been destroyed. The bridge erupted in stunned silence. No cheering. No celebration. A shock. Because every species in the galaxy believed the Hive King was immortal. And one dying human ship had killed it. But then another transmission appeared. Weak. Broken. Human. Commander Threx froze. No. Static filled the channel. Then Elias Ward's voice returned. Barely alive. Guess we're still here. The entire bridge stared in disbelief. A section of the Atlas had survived. Somehow. The shattered remains of the ship drifted from the burning debris field like a ghost crawling out of hell itself. Half the hull was missing. Engines destroyed. Life support failing. But it was moving. Threx whispered slowly. How? One human mechanic answered over comms with exhausted laughter. We used the escape pods as blast shields. Another voice coughed violently. Captain said dying was expensive. Several alien officers simply stared. They could not understand what they were hearing. No species survived a reactor detonation at point-blank range. No species. Yet the humans had done exactly that. Again. Inside the ruined bridge of the Atlas, smoke drifted through dead control panels. Bodies covered the floor. Some moving, some not. Captain Elias Ward sat against the shattered command console, breathing heavily. Blood covered his chest. Mira knelt beside him, trying desperately to stop the bleeding. "You're not allowed to die now," she whispered. Elias managed a weak grin. "That sounds unfair." She laughed through tears. Outside the viewport, alien fleets surrounded them. Thousands of ships, silent, watching, not with fear anymore, with awe. Commander Threx slowly stood from his chair. Then did something no Zyran commander had done in over 300 years. He bowed his head to the human vessel Atlas. His voice echoed across every allied fleet. "The galaxy owes its survival." One by one, alien commanders across the battlefield lowered their weapons. Then their heads, an ancient sign of respect. Entire civilizations paying tribute to one broken human ship. Mira looked out the cracked viewport in shock. "They're saluting us." Elias closed his eyes weakly. "No," he smiled faintly. "They're saluting humanity." Hours later, rescue teams entered the remains of the Atlas. Alien medics rushed through smoke-filled corridors carrying injured humans to safety. And everywhere they went, they found the same thing. Humans helping each other first. Burned soldiers carrying wounded friends. Engineers giving oxygen masks away. Crew members refusing evacuation until everyone else survived. Commander Threx watched silently as one dying human whispered comforting words to another terrified crewman. Even at the edge of death, they protected each other. The alien commander finally understood the truth. Humanity's greatest weapon was never their ships, never their technology, never their violence. It was their refusal to abandon one another. Weeks later, the Galactic Assembly gathered for the first United Summit in recorded history. Species that had hated each other for centuries now stood side by side, because humans had changed the galaxy forever. Captain Elias Ward entered the chamber slowly, still wounded. The room immediately fell silent. Then every alien delegate stood. Thousands of beings from hundreds of worlds, standing for one human. Supreme Chancellor Varun stepped forward carefully. For decades, the galaxy had mocked humanity. Too emotional, too reckless, too fragile. Now his voice trembled. "We were wrong." Massive screens behind him displayed footage from the final battle. The burning Atlas charging the Hive King. Humans fighting while everything collapsed around them. Humans choosing sacrifice over surrender. The Chancellor looked directly at Elias. "How did your species survive impossible odds for so long?" The chamber became completely silent. Elias thought for a moment, then answered softly. "Because somebody always stands back up." No grand speech. No arrogance. Just truth. And somehow, that made it even more powerful. Commander Threx watched alien delegates lowering their heads again in respect. Not to a conqueror, not to an empire, but to a species that refused to quit. A species that kept fighting for each other even when the universe told them to die. Years later, children across the galaxy would learn about the battle of the dying stars. About the day humanity saved every living species. And they would repeat the same words with equal parts fear and admiration. Never corner a human. Because the galaxy had finally learned something terrifying. Humans were at their strongest when protecting hope.